All right, so you know how we love to take these like really deep dives into all sorts of fascinating ideas?
Yeah.
And today we've got something really kind of profound in a way. It's
Hmm.
all about what happens when we make the choice, the conscious choice, to not take a life,
Right.
to abstain from killing.
It's a huge question.
Yeah, and it's something that I think a lot of different traditions and philosophies have grappled with.
For sure.
So what kind of source material are we diving into today to explore this?
Well, we're looking at a text that lays out a really specific system.
Okay.
It talks about 10 distinct rewards that come from abstaining from killing.
10 rewards.
10 rewards. And these are called the 10 freedoms from affliction,
Okay.
which arise from abstaining from killing.
So it's like cause and effect.
Exactly. Right. The cause is not killing, and the effect is these 10 rewards or freedoms from affliction.
I like that freedoms from affliction.
Yeah, it really frames it in a positive light.
Well, so it's not just about like avoiding something negative. It's
Right.
about actually gaining something positive.
Exactly. It's about cultivating a state of being.
Okay, so our mission today is to understand these 10 rewards.
Yeah.
Like really unpack what they mean and the principles behind them.
Uh,
And then like what does that tell us about the impact of our actions,
Absolutely. Because the idea that simply not killing can lead to 10 ways to live without affliction is pretty intriguing.
It's a big promise.
It is a big promise.
So let's dive in. The first reward is you, coach you out, giving fearlessness to all beings.
Okay.
So how does not killing connect to this idea of like universal fearlessness? What's the principle there?
Well, the text really emphasizes this direct link between what we do and the immediate consequence of that action.
Okay.
And there's this kind of fundamental law that the nature of the cause shapes the nature of the effect.
Makes sense.
Like you plant a certain kind of seed, you get a certain kind of fruit.
Right.
And that fruit multiplies. So in this case, the act of not taking a life, it creates a space where that being is free from the most basic fear,
Which is?
the fear of death.
Right.
So the cause your choice not to kill immediately results in giving that being fearlessness.
It's interesting because it's not like you're actively doing something
Right.
to give them fearlessness.
It's more like you're removing the source of fear.
Yeah, it's like you're creating a different environment
Exactly.
by subtracting violence from the equation.
You're creating a safe space.
Yeah, and the text goes on to say that this initial act of giving fearlessness actually has this like ripple effect. It sets something in motion that can lead to you possessing this natural authority and even invincibility to the point of subduing negative entities.
It's a powerful idea.
It is. So how does that leap happen? Like, how do we go from not killing to like being invincible?
Well, if you think about it in terms of like consistently not generating fear in others,
Okay.
what are you doing internally?
You're cultivating a sense of peace.
Exactly. You're building up this reservoir of inner peace and strength.
Okay.
And the text suggests that this internal state then projects outward.
Interesting.
It becomes an aura of authority,
Like a presence.
a presence that commands respect.
And even like repels negativity.
Yeah, like a strong light can dispel shadows.
I like that analogy.
It's a fascinating connection between inner cultivation and outer influence.
All right, so reward number 2, Hugh. Always having great loving kindness towards all beings.
Mm.
How does not killing lead to this like constant state of loving kindness?
It might seem simple, but it's actually quite profound.
Okay.
So the text points out that not killing is preventing the suffering of being killed.
Yeah, obviously.
And that's a form of giving happiness.
Right, because you're preventing suffering, which is like the opposite of happiness.
Exactly. And so you consistently choose not to take a life.
You're constantly choosing to give happiness.
Yes, and that naturally cultivates a more compassionate, loving attitude.
It's like you're practicing compassion through inaction.
In a way, yes.
And that practice then shapes your inner world.
Right.
Okay, the third reward. Eternally cutting off all habits of anger and hatred.
This one's a biggie.
Yeah, it feels so relevant like in today's world with all the anger and division.
Absolutely.
So how does choosing not to kill lead to like completely uprooting anger?
Well, the text suggests that the impulse to kill it comes from a place of anger and hatred.
Okay.
So when you feel that impulse,
Uh-huh.
but you choose not to act on it,
Right.
You're not just controlling your behavior, you're also engaging with that anger and rejecting it.
So it's like an internal process.
Yes. It's like you're facing the anger head on and saying no.
And by doing that over and over again, you weaken those habits.
Exactly. It's like choosing a different path every time you come to a fork in the road.
Eventually, the old path just fades away.
It becomes less and less appealing.
So it's not about, like, suppressing anger.
No.
It's about transforming your relationship to it.
Right. It's about rewiring your responses.
All right. The fourth reward is hafala, always being free from illness.
Okay.
This one's a bit more,
Less obvious.
yeah, less obvious, like from a purely like modern medical perspective.
Yeah. How does not killing equal good health?
Right. So what's the text saying about this?
Well, it's rooted in this understanding of interconnectedness.
Okay.
It suggests that illness and suffering can actually be connected to actions of killing.
In what way?
Well, firstly, there's the idea of retribution.
Like karma.
Yeah. If
Yeah.
you harm others, you make yourself vulnerable to harm,
Right.
which could manifest as illness.
Okay. That makes sense.
Secondly, it talks about these like parasitic beings that thrive in the body.
Oh, wow.
And the connection to killing here is that taking life creates a negative energetic environment,
Interesting.
and that attracts similar negative forces.
So like attracts like...
Exactly. And those forces could include viruses or parasites or other things that might seek sustenance or even like a kind of karmic payback within your body.
Wow, that's kind of a different way to think about it.
It is. It's about the energy you put out into the world.
And the energy you attract back.
Right. It's an energetic ecosystem.
The text even mentions different motivations for killing, like greed for meat, anger, desire for cleanliness. And it suggests that all of these can have these like long-term health consequences.
It's about the intention behind the action.
It's a very holistic perspective on health, isn't it?
It is. It considers the whole picture.
All right, let's move on to the fifth reward. Humil, long life.
Okay.
This one seems a bit more intuitive.
Yeah, this one's pretty straightforward.
So what's the connection here?
The text says that by choosing not to take a life, you're essentially preserving the life force of other beings.
Right, you're allowing them to live out their natural lifespan.
Exactly. And that act of giving life leads to your own longevity.
It's like what you give out comes back to you.
Right. It's reciprocal.
Reward number 6 is always being protected by non-human beings.
Oh.
So who are these non-human beings exactly?
Well, the text mentions beings like dragons and dharma protectors.
Okay.
These are entities that are associated with wisdom power and upholding cosmic order.
So they're like guardians.
Yes, benevolent guardians.
And how does abstaining from killing attract their protection?
It goes back to that idea of resonance.
Okay.
Not killing is a form of protection.
Right, you're protecting life.
And so you align yourself with beings who are also protective.
Like calls to like...
Exactly. You send out a signal of peace and you receive a response of guardianship.
That's a nice thought.
It is.
Okay, reward number 7. Nutner 1, choosing without nightmares, sleeping peacefully and happily.
Ah, yes, a good night's sleep.
We all want that, right?
For sure.
So how does choosing not to kill lead to this blissful state of sleep?
Well, there are a couple levels to this.
Okay.
Firstly, if you're not inflicting fear and worry on others.
You're not carrying that burden yourself.
Right. You're not creating that negativity within your own mind.
So it's about having a clear conscience.
In a way, yes, but it goes deeper than that.
Okay.
The text suggests that those whose lives have been taken, they might harbor resentment.
And that could affect you.
Yeah, if they have strong spiritual power, they could potentially cause disturbances even in your dreams.
Wow, like they're seeking revenge?
It's a possibility.
So by not killing, you're avoiding those kinds of entanglements.
Exactly, you're maintaining harmony.
The text also mentions all these other powerful non-human entities like wealth deities, tree spirits, earth spirits, rakshasas.
It's a whole world out there.
Yeah, and if you're going around killing things...
You might not be making friends.
Right, you could be upsetting some very powerful beings.
It's best to err on the side of caution.
Okay, reward number 8. Eradicating bonds of resentment, all grievances naturally dissolve.
This is an important one.
It's about breaking cycles of conflict.
Yeah. The text points out that violence creates more violence.
It's like a chain reaction.
Exactly. One killing can lead to endless retaliation.
But the choice to not kill can break that chain.
It can.
Even when there's been past harm, or you feel justified in retaliating.
Then
Because when you choose not to kill,
you're introducing a new element into the equation.
Peace.
Peace, and that could have a transformative effect.
Even on the person who's been harmed.
Yes, the text suggests that it can dissolve their resentment.
Wow, that's powerful.
It is. It's like you're disarming them with kindness.
And there's that story about the Dharma master's father
Right.
that illustrates this point so well.
It shows the devastating impact of holding on to resentment.
Yeah, and how choosing not to kill, even when you have every reason to,
Can break the cycle.
it's about someone choosing to be the bigger person.
And creating the space for healing.
All right, reward number 9. Nola, no fear of evil destinies.
Okay.
So this one connects not killing to our ultimate fate.
It does.
What's the text saying about this?
Well, it says that killing is the nature of the evil realms.
Okay.
And those realms are characterized by violence.
So it's like a self-perpetuating cycle.
Right. You go to a realm where there's more killing.
But if you abstain from killing,
You distance yourself from those realms.
because you're not aligned with that energy.
Exactly.
Okay, last but not least, the 10th reward.
Free birth in heaven.
Rebirth in heavens after death.
This is a classic aspiration.
Right, to be reborn in a heavenly realm.
A place of peace and bliss.
So how does not killing lead to that?
The text says that heavenly beings, they don't kill.
So by practicing non-violence,
You're cultivating the qualities of those realms.
and attracts,
Exactly.
you create the conditions for a heavenly rebirth.
It's about aligning your actions with your aspirations.
And the text concludes with a really powerful statement about dedicating the merit of abstaining from killing to the ultimate goal.
To unsurpassed, complete enlightenment or Buddhahood.
Right.
So why frame it in this ultimate spiritual context?
Well, it elevates the practice beyond just personal gain.
It's not just about getting rewards. No, it's about something much bigger.
It's about using the positive energy you've generated to achieve liberation.
Exactly. And the ultimate reward of Buddhahood is said to be a lifespan that's completely free and self-determined.
Yes, you should.
You become the master of your own destiny.
That's a pretty amazing goal.
It is the culmination of a life dedicated to nonviolence and compassion.
So as we've been going through these 10 rewards...
It's clear that there's this really intricate system of cause and effect at play.
Yeah, choosing not to kill, it's not just passive.
That's an active force.
It has these ripple effects that touch every aspect of our lives.
Our inner state, our relationships, our health, our future, even our spiritual journey.
It's really about cultivating a different way of being in the world.
And the text suggests that this way of being leads to freedom from affliction.
Which is ultimately what we all want.
I think so.
It's definitely given me a lot to think about.
Me too.
And for you listening out there, it makes you wonder how even small changes in your own intentions and actions,
Especially when it comes to life.
can have these really powerful positive consequences.
Ripples that extend outwards.
Not just for you, but for everyone and everything around you.
It's about recognizing our interconnectedness.
Yeah, and the responsibility that comes with that.
This ancient wisdom is really as relevant today as it ever was.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the power of nonviolence.
It's been a pleasure.
We'll catch you next time with more fascinating insights.
See you then.
Take care.
You too.